The Mustang EcoBoost is a blast. This one is the EcoBoost Premium. It's the 201A package. It's in the intense lime yellow metallic exterior, which is also paired up with the Nite pony package. So it does give it a pretty unique look, and it has been turning heads all week that I've had it so far. The high performance pack for the EcoBoost is no longer available, which means you're not finding paddle shifters in any EcoBoost variety anymore. It's a little bit pricier year over year, but outside of that, relatively unchanged, unless you take the available 60th anniversary edition into account, which gives you some pretty unique highlights. But in this video, I want to unpack the EcoBoost Mustang and help you figure out if this car is worth a buy. If your plan is to just get into a Mustang for the sake of having one, the EcoBoost would probably make sense because it gives you pretty good fuel economy and a great balance of performance and power. The front end styling of the Mustang is fantastic as always. You walk up to this car at night and it just pops. And then just basic design elements. With this lime yellow metallic paint, it actually works really well with the Nite pony package. Those black and yellow greenish highlights look fantastic. That blacked out pony in the middle is great. Inside of the Mustang, there are two different engines that are available in the regular version. So you're either the 2.3 liter EcoBoost, and then there's the 5 liter Coyote V8. Inside of the EcoBoost, you're looking at 315 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. So it's more than enough power to get you from A to B, have some fun. Let's get back up to highway speed here in 3, 2, and... boom. All right, that's fun. That is a heck of a lot of fun. And this isn't even the GT. If you compare the S550, so the 2023 previous, to the S650, so the 24s plus, there's more horsepower and torque in both the EcoBoost along with the GT. The GT does technically give you a bit of a bump in power if you look at the active valve exhaust, but I'll touch on that as we get to the back end. If you want the best possible power inside of a Mustang, go for the GT. But if you're just looking for a fun daily driver, the EcoBoost, I think is the way to go. I'm just sad that they got rid of the performance pack, so there's no paddle shifters available inside of the EcoBoost anymore. That's a nice simple setup underneath the hood. There's no engine cover at all, but you've got easy access to top up all of your fluids, check change oil, fill up your wiper fluid as well. Just do yourself a favor, go in for regularly scheduled maintenance and regular oil changes. People wonder why their cars don't last over 100,000 miles, and most of the time, unless it's a manufacturing defect, it's because you're not properly maintaining it. Regular oil changes, regularly scheduled maintenance, especially with the EcoBoost, this car will treat you well. You are only going to find the Mustang rear-wheel drive, so that's completely unchanged. But the overall handling that you get is incredible inside of the car. Oh, my responsiveness there, oh yeah. And then as you get into the MagneRide system, so you look at the GT Performance Pack, or if you were to look at doing an aftermarket, it's gonna give you just better handling overall. And then if we look at the turning radius, oh, this car's a blast. When you get into the GT with the performance package, that's when you've got the option for the MagneRide system in that premium version. The MagneRide damping system is magnetic particles in the suspension system which help to reduce overall body roll. Very useful if your plan is to track the car, but if you're never going to take it on a track, you probably won't notice a difference between MagneRide and the traditional suspension system. But you can do MagneRide aftermarket or just look at some aftermarket suspension options instead. There are a series of different wheel styles and sizes with the blacked out ones. I don't know what it is. I love black wheels. So seeing that in this Mustang, just speaks to me. I love the overall look of it. There's nothing nicer than walking up to a Mustang at night, whether you're looking at it from the front or the back end. The back end having those sequential taillights turn on with the available puddle lights looks solid. And then when you look at the overall style in the back, a little deck lid spoiler there with the option for a wing as well, depending on which version of the vehicle that you're in. This one has the reverse park sensing system. along with a backup camera. And then you're looking at quad tip exhaust. And it does have the active valve exhaust system. That's one feature I think every Mustang should have. It doesn't matter if you're in the EcoBoost or the GT. Not only does it give you a bump in power, it also sounds so much nicer. Listen to this pony sing. The acoustics there are so good, and it's kind of neat how you can see everything open up as you move between the normal, sport, track mode, or the drag mode too. Now here's the thing, you have to get active valve exhaust from the factory. There's no system that even works remotely close to what's available. So if you're looking at a Mustang that's on the dealership lot that doesn't have it, honestly, I just recommend putting in a factory order. You'd have to wait a little bit longer, but I think that is one upgrade that's absolutely worth it. And why not all dealers have it built into every Mustang is beyond me. But definitely get the active valve system. Getting into the trunk of the ride can be done a few different ways. There's a button to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You can use the key fob to do it. And then just above the license plate, there's also a button there that you can push in the middle in order to get inside. This one does have the upgraded 12-speaker Bang & Olufsen audio system, which means that you're looking at a big woofer in the back. But outside of that, there's nothing back here. There's a little storage tray, and lifting that up, there is the mini spare tire with the jack stand along with the white spigot. So if you ever need to fill up using a jerry can, you're going there first in order to make it happen. There is Ford roadside assistance, so they can help out with tire changing, fuel delivery, lockout, and a few other things. It's just one of the added benefits of being a Ford owner. And then folding down the second row seats. If yours can fold down, so just in the fastback, it's done, just along the second row seat. Hop inside, there's a tab, you're gonna pull, and that's gonna let you fold the seat down. Now it is a 50-50 split because there's only 2 seats in the back. So you can fold either side down, but you actually do get a pretty solid amount of space inside of this boot. When you go for the convertible, the space is affected a tiny little bit in just the boot area of the ride, but outside of that, there is a good amount of space here. And then the measurements that you're looking at, the ones specifically behind the first row, those go from right where the trunk door would close to just in behind the little console armrest between the first row seats. There's not a ton of space really in that second row, but if you need that little bit of extra space, it is available. Filling up fuel inside of the Mustang is done just along the driver's side. It's an unlocked cover with a capless system that features anti-siphon technology. Someone can't just jam a hose down there to try to siphon out fuel. When it comes down to fuel quality inside of the ride, minimum manufacturer's recommendation is technically just 87. So you can use regular fuel inside of this car. But here's the thing. Whether it's the EcoBoost or the GT, these are performance cars, sports cars. You want to use ideally a 91 octane, as the horsepower and torque specs are all achieved using a premium fuel. Do you need to use one? No, but if you want the best possible performance inside of a Mustang, at least in 89, ideally in 91 or higher if you've got it in the budget. But if you're in a pinch, 87 will technically work okay. And then when you look at the overall fuel economy, the EcoBoost is going to get 30% better fuel economy compared to the GT. So if you're just looking for a Mustang, just for the sake of getting into a cool car, the EcoBoost absolutely has you covered, and it's got really good performance at the same time. Like 350 pound-feet of torque is enough to throw you back into your seat when you put your foot down. Line lock inside of the car is a blast inside of this ride. If you want to do burnouts, have a little bit of fun, you absolutely can. Obviously, if you're driving like a donkey, you're going to use up a lot more fuel, but if you're just casually driving, cruising, whatever the case may be, the EcoBoost more than has you covered. The Mustang features manual folding side view mirrors, But there are some pretty neat key fob tricks that you can do. So remote start, roll the windows down, things like that. If you want to walk through on those features, you'll find them down below. But I mentioned here, manual folding, side view mirrors. Then there is some intelligent access here, so you can push there to lock the doors, slide your hand in order to unlock. But before we get inside of different versions of the Mustangs, you'll have different seating materials, but along the door, you might have seat memory depending on which trim level you're in. But then outside of that, the buttons are going to be the same. So you've got your side view mirror controls, window controls with some storage. There are 3 different speaker choices available inside of this ride. So it's either a 6, a 9, or a 12 speaker system. This one has the upgraded 12, but the 9 speaker and even the 6 sound pretty good. It's just that the 12 is obviously going to be deeper bass just because of the woofer in the back. There's this little scuff plate there that glows beautifully at night. And then you can just make out some ambient light. These are the rubberized trays you'll find from the factory. I highly recommend either getting these trays or the ones aftermarket through WeatherTech. Then if you look at the space inside of the Mustang, okay, seats as far down as it's going to go. I've got almost 4 inches of headspace. So if you're 6'3", 6'4", you'll probably comfortably be able to sit inside of this ride. Oh, that's nice. And then start up here. Beautiful. Now, if you want walkthroughs though, you want to know how to use the steering wheel buttons, use cruise control, whether that's normal or adaptive, go through the cluster or the infotainment. You'll find full walkthroughs down in the description of this video. But it's feature packed. There's a drive mode selector here, letting you go between the normal, sport, track, and drag. Technically, these are only supposed to be done on a track, but it's great. Slippery is going to play with traction stability control. So I mean, you technically can use this all throughout the year if you'd like to. I don't know if I would personally go wintertime driving, but I do have some subscribers, people who've told me that they use the Mustang year round. That's great. I like the flat bottom design that came for the 2024 models. And just the style here. I know some people aren't crazy about the digital clusters. I wasn't crazy when I first saw them probably like 10, 15 years ago. But seeing them in more cars, I love it. And having the flexibility of being able to customize it is even cooler. And Ford actually added a few more in. So you have your basics, so you can match it based off of the drive mode. So as you move between different modes, it changes up the look of the cluster screen. Look at this, we go to a sport mode. Like the graphics there are beautiful. But yeah, look at that. So there's a difference in the mode as you move between. You can permanently lock it out to a different mode. There's your classic style. Fox body. So Fox body was there on launch, and then they've added in the classic and then the SVT Cobra look. So if you wanted something a little bit more unique, or just like a basic calming view, if you don't like all the extra stuff. But I mean, having this flexibility is amazing. The infotainment system here is feature packed. You've got factory navigation built in. You've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support. There's audio, so you've got AM, FM, Sirius XM, and so many other things inside of this ride. Because this is the premium version, that means that you've got heated and ventilated first row seats. You're going to have heated in some trim levels of the ride, ventilated when you get into the premium versions of the EcoBoost along with the GT. There's a heated steering wheel there and so many other options. So like I said, full walkthrough on the infotainment. You'll find that down below. We've got this nice highlight that follows all the way through. My Mustang badge there. And there are ponies all throughout the car. Your push start there with some basic buttons down the middle. 2 USB power points with a 12 volt. Automatic is the only option inside of the EcoBoost. Like there is a dedicated low gear, but I wish that it was at least a manual mode for the shifter, but ideally paddles would be great. I've definitely seen people do aftermarket installs of paddles where you essentially would just get rid of the whole steering wheel, replace it with one that has paddles on there. So it's doable, but I would like to see a factory option there again for the EcoBoost. There's an electronic parking brake with some cup holders. The armrest here can actually be locked through the infotainment system. So you enter in a 4-digit PIN, it actually keeps that locked. There's a 12 volt power point in there too. And then, I mentioned there is ambient light. Features. That's what I wanted, features. There's ambient light available inside of this ride. I actually think I'm wrong. I've got to go to my pony. So many things, there we go. And you've got my color. You've got basic options, so customizing the display. Because of the exterior color here, I just thought that color choice made the most sense. And then ambient light, you've got a series of different light choices that are available. So you can adjust the brightness of the ambient light, the color of the ambient light. It's pretty subtle, but I mean, at nighttime, it does look pretty good too. Nice, squirrel. There's a fully lockable glove box there. Good amount of space in that box. Up overhead, you've got an auto-dimming rear view mirror. From there, basic controls for your cabin lights with your sunglasses holder here. This is like one disappointing thing that I think Ford did with the S650. So it moved the sunglasses holder from down there to up there. Still not crazy about it. It's, yeah, easy access, but I don't know, I like that little taco holder down there. Up overhead from there, you've got your HomeLink system. So if you've got a garage door opener at home, you can program it in. And there's also a little ticket receipt holder on the inside there, along with vanity mirror that has lights built in. And then this little feller also stretches. That's going to block the majority of sun that's hitting your face. But, I mean, great visibility overall inside of this ride. You've obviously got the option for the convertible inside of the car too. If you want to know how to actually open up the convertible top, you'll find a walkthrough on how that's done down in the description of this video. But let's go hop into that second row. Oh God, oh, I don't like doing this. All right, hold on. Let's make it easier. Oh, this sucks. Yeah. This is outrageous. Like, literally absolutely zero chance I'm sitting inside of the second row of a Mustang, unless it's a convertible or you go for the Mach-E version of the ride. Like, there is just no space back here whatsoever. So, I mean, if you've got kids, it would be okay. So, I mean, if you're a parent with a young kid, a new baby, etc., anchor points are there. There are top tethers behind the seat there too. So you could throw a car seat back here if you really wanted to. But I mean, outside of that, like, yeah, if you want more space for a family vehicle, you'd look at probably the Mach-E at that point, because you still get really good power with a functional second row versus what you're finding in the second row of this car. This is always just ridiculous showing this off. And then getting out is such a pain. But not impossible at the same time. I hear that turbo whine. Beautiful. And with the active exhaust system, the EcoBoost Mustang actually can sound fairly aggressive. You get it going in sport mode or in track mode. Sounds fantastic. Let's do some en route handling here. Listen to that sound. Beautiful. And it's a Mustang, so you know it handles well. You can't, I don't know if you'd be able to hear it in the video here, but same thing, that little turbo whine as we go to speed up here. Beauty, there we go. So the basic en route handling is good. The overall handling inside of the ride though is fantastic. You start cornering and it just hugs the road nicely. And then looking at the overall road noise, I mean, considering it's a Mustang, it's not anywhere near as loud as the GT inside, which is nice, but it still is a little bit noisy. I mean, you're not really getting a sports car or car like this hoping for a very quiet ride. You'd maybe look at like the Mach-E in order to get a super quiet ride inside of a Mustang. Unfortunately, inside of the 24 Mustang, Ford got rid of the 6-speed manual transmission, so it's only going to be a 10-speed automatic now, and you can't even get paddle shifters inside of the EcoBoost anymore. As last year, you were able to get the high performance package, which would give you paddles, but Ford's gotten rid of that for the 2025 model year, unfortunately. But at the same time, the car's brain's going to be able to respond and react quicker than yours, so that's one thing to take into account. But I would just love to see like a manual mode or actual hand shifter or paddle shifters or something inside of the ride. There's just no option to do that anymore, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, just because it doesn't have a manual transmission though, this car is still a blast to drive. Oh yeah. And that was a look at the Mustang EcoBoost, a car that I would actually recommend you look at over the regular GT if your plan is to use it as a daily driver. and you're on a bit of a budget, but you still want a car that's a little badass and a heck of a lot of fun. But you can find all of the build details for this Mustang down in the description, with links off to Ford Canada and US, along with all the tech walkthrough videos. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful. And until I see you next time, take care. Underneath the hood of the Mustang, there are 2 different engine choices that are available. So there's either the three, it's a 2, you donkey.